This is DB Online, an exclusive presentation of SportsTalkFlorida.com. Thrilled to have you guys with us. Eric Lopez producing this segment as always. I am David Baumann. And our topic now are some of the misused words in the world of sports. Words like must win. We heard Tony Parker say it before Game 5. The word great. Okay, there's been a discussion and debate after Pete Prisco of CBS on Twitter posted, can we all stop now with the Miami is a great team talk? I still think Miami is a great team, and we'll get into that. And beyond that, the word pivotal, which you often hear throughout any playoff series in any sport in games 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, leading all the way up to 6 and 7, for God's sakes. The word pivotal should only be used in basically two situations, games 3 and 5. I'll tell you why. First, Tony Parker, please explain to me how this is a must-win heading into Game 5. This is what Tony Parker said in the shoot-around prior to Game 5, a game San Antonio would eventually win.
It's a must-win. That's how you play basketball, is to live those moments. It's a great opportunity for us, and it's a big game, and we have to win. Simple as that.
Because sports is cliche often, the words must win are just used in any sort of like big game situation. Must win really would mean that it's an elimination game, that San Antonio would be trailing 3-2, like Miami will be trailing 3-2 heading into Game 6 on Tuesday night. Elo, the words must win. I remember when Stan Van Gundy was in town, and Stan Van Gundy is a regular guest here on the show. When Stan Van Gundy was coaching the Orlando Magic, Stan hated those words. Reporters would ask Van Gundy those words in like playoff games, in like a Game 3 of a playoff. And he'd be like, no, it's not a must-win because we have games to play after this. Doesn't mean if we win or lose, it's not a must-win. It's not.
No, and they say it's always a must-win only when your season's on the line. Was Game 2 all of a sudden a must-win for the Spurs? It doesn't look like a must-win right now for them.
Now, I can understand, okay, the thought process of it's a must-win in San Antonio because it's Game 5 and they'd have to go back to Miami for Game 6 and 7, Eric. But still, no matter how you want to break it down, even if the Spurs would have lost Game 5, they're still alive. The season's not over.
Season's not over, and you could have always won 2 in a row anyway. Maybe, is it a big game? No, it's a big game for both sides. I think every game's a big game. That's the other cliche I hate. Oh, this is a big game. What do you mean? It's a finals. Every game's a big game.
Right.
It's not preseason basketball, so we kind of go a little overboard on the cliches.
How about the word pivotal used so many times? I don't know how many times we saw pivotal in like Game 2, a pivotal game. I mean, what are you talking about? The word pivotal, right? Pivotal essentially means rotating on an axis with a point in the middle, right? Pivotal. All right, the only use of pivotal in a playoff series is Game 3 when the series is tied 1-1 or Game 5 when the series is tied 2-2. Right?
Is it really that pivotal, though? I mean, again, can a team not come back from a 2-1 deficit? I mean, it's not that pivotal. 2-2 maybe I'll give you that because it's later in the series and it's closer to the end of the series. I can't call a game early in the series pivotal, though. Can you?
All right. Here is pivotal, according to dictionary.com, because we're going to get into the word great in definition form. Pivotal, of crucial importance in relation to the development or success of something else. And the second part of that adjective, fixed on or as if on a pivot, as like I was telling you. An axis, so to speak. So of crucial importance in relation to the development or success of something else. So I guess relatively you could use that word in certain situations, but I still hate it. Now, how about the word great? The word great. Pete Prisco brought it up. Okay. Is Miami, the Miami Heat, are the Miami Heat a great team? Even if they lose this series, are the Miami Heat a great team? Elo, I'll let you start, and then I'll get into the definition.
Yeah, I think they're still a great team. Let me know how many teams in the NBA get to go to 3 NBA Finals appearances. If they lose this series, they still win 1 title. How many titles do the Orlando Magic have again, David? 0, right?
Right.
Oh. How many titles do the Toronto Raptors have again?
0. Even the San Antonio Spurs have not gone to back-to-back finals.
No, it's not an easy accomplishment.
And the San Antonio Spurs, I would say, have sustained greatness. That is a great team built on the foundation of Greg Popovich, Tim Duncan, Tony Parker, and Manu Ginobili for a decade. That's a great team.
Now, look, are they as great of a team as Michael Jordan's Bulls teams, Birds, Celtics, Magic's Lakers? No.
So now we get into the relativity of that situation.
Right. It's kind of like the Hall of Fame in baseball when you think about it. You have Willie Mays, Babe Ruth, the high standards, and then you got guys like Raleigh Fingers. Great player, but not Babe Ruth. Willie Mays, great. That's what the Miami Heat are. If they lose this final, they're still a great team. 3 NBA Finals, a championship. Still got one more year. We don't know what they're going to do the final year.
Just like as I would consider the Buffalo Bills of the early 1990s
4 straight Super Bowls.
A great team, even though they never won.
Not at the level of the 49ers of Joe Montana or Lombardi. We're not going to put them in
or
that
the Dallas Cowboys of that same decade.
What a great team. This Heat team would be more up in the Detroit Pistons teams from the Rip Hamilton and those teams that went to the NBA Finals.
I do see that.
In 04, 05, won the title in 04. Got to the conference finals. Think about this. Got to the Eastern Conference Finals in 03, 04, 05, 06, 07, and 08. And you think about it, they lost to the Nets in 03 in the finals. 04, they won the title against Shaq, Kobe, the mailman, Gary Payton in the finals. 05, they're a Robert Horry 3-point shot away from probably winning the series against the Spurs. As it is, they lose in a Game 7 in San Antonio. Game 06, they lose to the Heat with Dwayne Wade and Shaq. And then in 07, they lose to LeBron James, who had that monster Game 5, where he took over in the fourth quarter in overtime. And then in 08, they lost to the Celtics. That was a great run for the Pistons. Yeah. One title, but they're not going to be at the Celtics level at Bird and Magic. But still, nothing to be ashamed of.
Due to the collective bargaining agreement and the shorter contracts, this Miami Heat run is a brief run. It's a 3-year run right now. I mean, there's a chance Chris Bosh gets traded in the offseason. And if he doesn't, we have one more season of these players, and then they can disperse. So, now listen, I expect another great season from the Miami Heat, and I do consider them to be a great team. I think on the cusp of, like you brought up, the different levels of great. You know, you're talking about Bulls and Lakers and the Celtics of the past. But, you know, for all intents and purposes, for now, I mean, the 66 wins this past season, they won 70% of their games in the lockout-shortened championship season that they won last year, and 58 wins the first time around when they lost in the NBA Finals against the Dallas Mavericks. I consider that to be great. 3 straight trips to the finals, even though they've just won 1 at this point and a chance for 2. Hell, the Heat could still win this series against the Spurs. That's 2 rings for LeBron James. And, Dwayne Wade would be his 3rd. And then they could do it again. They could be right back here next year. And I expect them to have a great season. I expect them to at least be in the Eastern Conference Finals. And then we would be talking about the different levels of great. Sure. I think that word great, adjective, of an extent, amount, or intensity considerably above the norm or average, according to dictionary.com. That, to me, is the Miami Heat.
Keep this in mind. If the Heat were to get back to the NBA Finals next season, that would be 4 straight NBA Finals. The last team to do that, the Boston Celtics, Larry Bird, they did it from 84 through 87. 84, they won it. 85, they lost to the Lakers. They won 86. They lost in 87. They went 2-2 in the finals. Think about that.
Does that not constitute greatness?
Think about this, though. The Heat lose this series to the Spurs. Let's say they lose this series, but come back and win the title next year. That's the exact same resume that Bird Celtics did from 84 to 87. 2 titles and 2 losses in the finals. So let's not close. This chapter is far from being done for the Miami Heat. I don't think this series defines their legacy yet.
There you have it. All right. Breaking down words in sports and getting back to their roots, their true roots and definitions, right here in DB Online. For Eric Lopez, I'm David Baumann, and the David Baumann Show is every weekday morning on 1040 and 1080. The team across this great state, powered by the Peacock NBC Sports.